You see the headlines every day about what AI can do, but what about what it needs? Underneath all that hype, there's a hidden crisis brewing. It's this direct collision between the absolutely explosive growth of AI and a critical resource we all depend on, energy. So let's break it down.
Here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll look at a new way to see the problem. Then, we'll dive into the phenomenon everyone's talking about. After that, we'll dissect its underlying structure, understand the invisible pressure it's creating, and explore the massive global implications. And we'll wrap up with the big questions this all leaves us with.
We're not just going to rehash the same old news stories. The goal here is to really see the blueprint behind the headlines, to get a handle on the deep, structural shift that is happening right under our noses.
So let's try to look at all these world events, not as just random noise, but as signals, Using this lens helps us see the why behind the what. And frankly, it's the only way to really understand the coming AI energy crisis.
Okay, let's start with what's right in front of us, the thing getting all the attention. The incredible, just explosive boom in AI. But behind this boom is a hidden and, frankly, ferocious appetite for one thing: power.
And look, this isn't some vague problem for the future. It is happening right now, and it's driven by three main things. Tech giants building these mind-bogglingly massive GPU farms, hyperscalers like Amazon and Google just pouring billions into this, and the simple fact that these AIs have to be always on. That combination is creating a thirst for electricity like we've never seen before.
And this chart, wow, it just lays out the core conflict perfectly. AI's demand for power isn't just growing, it's growing exponentially. It's a rocket ship. Meanwhile, our ability to build new power plants and upgrade the grid, that grows at best in a straight, predictable, linear fashion. You really don't need to be a math whiz to see where this is headed.
So here's the crucial point. That gap you see on the chart isn't just a temporary shortage. No, it's a fundamental, structural distortion between the digital world of AI and the physical world of our power infrastructure. A crisis is literally being built right into the system.
Now, to really wrap our heads around this, we need to start thinking about AI in a completely new way. Let's get past this idea of AI as just, software or code, and start to understand its physical reality.
This is the central idea of our whole analysis. At its most basic physical level, an AI is nothing more than an energy conversion device. It's a machine. It takes raw electrical energy as its input, and it transforms it into what we call intelligence as its output. Simple as that.
And this conversion, it happens in a chain. It all starts with the power grid. That's the ultimate bottleneck. That power gets funneled into a data center, which, if you think about it, is just a giant machine for concentrating incredible amounts of energy. And then, inside, the AI hardware does the final magic trick, converting all that electricity into intelligence.
And that brings us to this simple but incredibly profound equation. The demand for AI computation has now officially outstripped the capacity of our energy infrastructure to support it. The dream of infinite compute has just slammed headfirst into the hard wall of finite energy.
And believe it or not, it's even more complex than that. This isn't just about energy. These data centers need massive amounts of water for cooling. They have to be in specific geographic locations. And, more, states and governments are having to step in and decide who gets the power. It's a tangled knot of energy, water, geography, and politics.
So what happens when you have a mismatch this huge? Well, this structural distortion creates what we can call a gradient. It's an invisible but incredibly powerful force that is already starting to reshape our world.
Here's the formula for that pressure. You've got AI demand skyrocketing upwards. At the same time, the power supply is either flat or in some places even going down. The result is this intense world-shaping force, the AI energy gradient. It's a pressure that is going to bend everything around it.
And this main gradient, it creates all these secondary ones, these ripple effects. It forces politics to get involved in who gets energy. It creates real conflict over water for cooling. And it's funneling just insane amounts of capital towards any project that can solve even a tiny piece of this puzzle.
Okay, so we've got this immense, invisible pressure building up. So what happens next? Let's explore the profound, far-reaching consequences this gradient is going to have on all of our futures.
This pressure is going to lead to at least 4 world-changing consequences. First, AI is going to move to where the power is cheap and plentiful. Second, electricity is about to become a strategic national resource, kind of like oil. Third, the real limit on AI will shift from computer chips to watts of power. And finally, and this is the most disturbing one, this will create a brand new kind of global inequality.
And this right here might be the most important takeaway of all. The new dividing line in our world might not be between the rich and the poor, but between the regions with abundant energy and those without. Access to power will directly translate to access to AI. It is creating a new map of global power as we speak.
Just let that sink in for a second. For decades, the entire story of computing has been about getting more processing power. That era, it's ending. From this point on, the true bottleneck, the ultimate limiting factor for the future of artificial intelligence, is energy. Period.
So this analysis doesn't really give us any easy answers. Instead, what it does is leave us with the critical questions we all need to start thinking about, and fast. This is the homework that remains for all of us.
So, first up, have we been looking at this all wrong? Was the limit on AI's growth ever really about the speed of our chips, or was it always, deep down, a story about energy?
And if energy is the new critical resource, who decides who gets it? Do we let the free market figure it out? Or is electricity about to become a strategic asset, something that's allocated and controlled directly by the state?
Which leads to an even bigger question. For all our advanced technology, is this new AI civilization really just a return to a more primitive state? One where all progress is dictated simply by our ability to harness raw power?
And finally, we're left with the most profound question of all. If AI is just energy that's been converted into intelligence, does that mean that intelligence itself is becoming an industrial resource, something fundamentally dependent on electricity? The answer to that question is going to define the next century.